But what is consuming the news cycles today is alleged police brutality, with the shooting of the Rashad Brooks boy, the lynching of George Floyd and Ahmaud Arbery, and a bunch of others as well. The beautiful young woman down in Kentucky. The so I, and a bunch of others that have been a part of this whole. Let me say something to you that I want y'all to come up and listen to me very carefully. I'm not going to go through the fact that I've been beaten. I was beaten so bad by the police, by 4 police officers. I was hospitalized for 2 weeks in the Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami, Florida, going back many years ago. So I'm not going to go through that again with you again because I've been on the street. I understand the process. But I want to tell you, as a man of God, I've lived in Harlem for 40 years. I have seen the riots of Harlem, the crack epidemic. Remember the window washers in Harlem? Remember that? Remember the bombed out, burned out building? I've lived in Harlem for 40 years, and I dare not move to a neighborhood. I probably have the financial resources to move to another neighborhood and could have done so, yeah, but I've lived in Harlem. So I don't think anybody that's been on television, whether it's Cornel West or anybody else, know more about the issue of police brutality than I do. I am the quintessential authoritarian on what is police brutality and what is not police brutality. But let me say this. I can tell you this now, that all this talk about police reform and all of that, and I'm not saying that they're not bad police officers. I'm not saying, I think there's 1,000 times more bad preachers than there are bad police officers. I think there are 1,000 times more bad politicians than there are police officers. I do. I think there are 1,000 times more worse Wall Street people, bankers, and others than there are police officers. You know, this is the absolute truth. This is the absolute truth. You're talking to, I'm the Lord's servant, remember. You know, I think, now I've been beaten by police. I've been beat within an inch of my life, lied on by the police. But in terms of a professional group, I would rather deal with the police than deal with lawyers. I tell you that. I would put more trust in a police officer than I will these judges in the state and federal courts. I believe I get a better deal from a police on the street, even though I cuss him out. I believe I get a better deal from a police than I will from some of these judges, or lawyers, or prosecutors, or district attorneys, or politicians, or preachers. I believe. Now I'm telling you what God loves. I believe. I'm a Hamite brother. I believe that that if you ask me whose hands I'd rather fall into, a judge, especially a state court judge, or a federal court judge, or a district attorney, or a lawyer, or a politician, or a Catholic priest, or a charismatic preacher, whose hands would I want to fall into, or police? Whether in Mississippi or in Buffalo, New York, I say police. I think I can make it with the police. I don't know about these judges. I don't know about these preachers. I don't know about these politicians, but I believe I can make it with the police. Give me that. If it's a fight, come on. But these judges, these lawyers. So having said that, I want to try to put us all in the same boat here today. 90% of the alleged police brutality, and I'm not sure that's what it all is all the time, you know. I think Sister Marsha Carpenter Hodges said that the reason why that police shot that boy Rashad Brooks down there in Georgia is because he beat him and embarrassed them, and they were upset with it. He threw both of them around, which no drunk man can do. He threw both of them around. and took their gun and I think they were ticked off with that boy. That's why they busted a cap in his butt. It was wrong. It was murder. It was wrong. But I think they were angry in the spare of the moment that what he had done to both of them. Anyway, here, where I am still in school and working on a dissertation for a PhD, I would do an in-depth study without bias on the effect of unfathered black men and the effect that it has had and the correlation between police brutality, the escalation of police brutality, the escalation of prison and the imprisonment of black men. I would look at do a timeline on when there was a pretty much 95 to 97% of all black homes had black fathers in those homes. Now they're Hamites, but I still haven't caught all of y'all up to the term Hamite as of yet, so I'm going to still use black and Hamite interchangeably. But at the point where it was 95 to 97%, and this was up to the mid-60s, from 1865 to just about 1965, most 95 to 97% of black homes had a black daddy, had a black father in those homes. Look at the rate of imprisonment. How many people went to prison during that period? How many complaints of black police brutality? We'll argue about that. How many crimes were committed, and what was the state of black folk during the time when there were, and then look at when the black men started leaving the homes, and I'm going to explain to you why and how in just a moment. As the black fathers left the homes, the rise of police brutality, the rise of black incarceration, the rise of the building and the prison complex, the rise of the building of Pelican Bay, the rise of this. Alcatraz was not enough. As more and more black fathers left the homes, more and more police had to whoop those black boys because their father would, and the police beat them across the head with a billy club, but their daddy should have beat them with a belt. If their fathers had beat them with a belt, then the police wouldn't have to do anything. I preached for years. Nobody wants to hear it. I preached for years. We wouldn't need no precincts or just a few police officers in the neighborhood of black communities if we had fathers in the home. Now you can talk about police reform, y'all can run all that slop, all that political talk, all that stuff that gets nothing but Kamala Harris and Cory Booker and all these black mayors like that Keisha Bottoms, Lance Bottoms, whoever she is, and that one out there in San Francisco, and that one over yonder, Lori Lightfoot over there in Chicago. Y'all can let them talk all they want. Listen, they ain't doing nothing but keeping their jobs. Politics. They got to keep talking about political issues rather than the truth so they can stay in those high-paying jobs, sit up in those great big wood grain offices with those great big wood and leather chairs and eat all them fancy meals and go to all the banquets and be invited to all the rich people's houses and have Wall Street and all those other people dump money into their campaign. They want to keep their jobs. And listen, this thing is so critical, even some of the Republicans now. They're talking about police reform. They don't give a damn about police reform, but they want to keep their job. They want to keep their job as senators, having chauffeur-driven limousines, armed people around them, taking care of them, sending people out to do their laundry, having cooks in their Georgetown homes, and having all kinds of special secretaries running around their office naked at night. No, they want to keep them jobs is what they want to do. They're talking about police reform too. It ain't going to help the situation. Nobody wants to say what the real problem is. You know why? Here they come with Jesse Jackson, blame the victim. Damn right, that's what we need to do. We need a blame the victim bill. We need a consciousness in America to blame the victim. You say, well, Pastor Manning, now come on now. That shot that boy Walter Scott in the back and he was running away And that Eric Garner boy, that Dan the Pantalone boy choked that man. He didn't have to do that to him. And the beautiful young girl, what's her name down there in Tennessee? They got shot down there the other day, that beautiful young girl, 27 years old. What's her name again? Breonna Taylor. You know, Pastor man, now come on. You're right. No, the police, you're right. But that's going to happen. But Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, and a bunch of others, the issue is, and then of course, collectively, now listen, Jesse Jackson said years ago that he would not walk in the streets of Harlem at 2 o'clock in the morning because he's scared of the black boys that's in Harlem at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's right. The noted black theologian professor at Union Theological Seminary who coined the phrase black theology, who lived in the residencies in Union, which is in Harlem at Columbia University, he himself said he would not go into the black neighborhoods. You see, all these folk talking this talk about how bad white folk are. Listen, we need to recognize we have a problem, a systemic problem within the community that incites, that causes even police officers to respond differently to a black man than does to a white man. That's right. Now they're talking about now how Dylan Roof down there killed 9 people down there in that church, Mother AME Zion Church down there in Charleston, South Carolina. When the popo rolled up on him to arrest him, they hosted their weapons. They didn't have to take their weapons out. But when they roll up on a black man, they not only take their weapons out, but they shoot him and ask questions later. Why? Why? The reason being, Elizabeth said to me the other day, we were having dinner, she said to me, you know, most of these police officers scared of black folk, you know, because they seen what black folk have done to each other. And most of the police in the neighborhood is to stop black on black crime. And so they want to go home at night. So they just shoot. Even if you're running away, they just shoot. They don't know if you got a partner hidden in the bushes. They don't know. We have built such a reputation as Hamite black people that most people are afraid of us and our violence that we have perpetrated against one another. Listen, and then the hypocrisy, the fact that we ain't no black father, and then the fact that the leaders that we, people like Al Sharpton are the people that we look to solve the issue. You got to be out your mind if you think anybody going to respect Al Sharpton, who ain't looking for something, who's not willing. Yeah, blame the victim. We need to stop blaming the police. Now, they've done wrong things. They beat me, I told you. But stop blaming them and start blaming ourselves. Beat me once. Shame on you. Beat me twice. Shame on me. We need to do something about our own morality, our own sense of civility. We need to do something about our own family structure. And don't give me this business. Don't you give me this business about poor economic conditions creates father leaving home. You a damn lie. And the truth ain't in you. We were poor in 1920. We were poor in 1930s during the Depression. We were poor in the 19th century. We were poor then, and we had no police brutality. Give me this business. We need to blame the victim. That's right. That's the problem. It's us, not them. And Jesus said the same thing. We Hamite black people need to get the oak tree out of our eye before we can talk about getting a toothpick out of the eyes of the police. Now, don't misunderstand. I'm not saying that every policeman is perfect. But I started out a few months ago. I'd rather take my chances. And the Lord said to me, all right, Pastor Manning, this is it, your judgment day, boy. You can choose to fall in the hands of the police, and whatever they do to you is what your sentence will be. Or you can fall in the hand of judges in the courts, or you can fall into the hand of lawyers in the practice of law, or district attorneys as well. Or you can fall in the hands of preachers in the mega churches and the charismatic and the Black Baptist and the African Methodist movement, or the hands of church people, or you can fall into the hands of politicians. And whatever they do to you will be your judgment for your crimes and sins against me. God will say to me, I say instantly, I'll take my chance with the police. Put me in the hands of the police. Don't put me in the hands of people like T.D. Jakes or these charismatic, sweet talking in the tongues preachers. Whatever you do, don't put me in their hands. All these politicians like Kamala Harris and Booker and Obama, don't put me, Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. No, sir. So you're saying, well, Pastor, man, at the death, at the time America's mourning, the death of Breonna Taylor, and she's a beautiful young woman. Lord have mercy, Jesus Christ of Nazareth. So sorry that she lost her life. I am. And these unfortunate things happen. You know, there's a verse in the Bible where Moses was talking to Jesus, and he said, Moses, now we ain't gonna have no police in the Jewish nation, and we ain't gonna have no prisons. I'm gonna give you the law, and people don't keep the law, bring them before the elders, and if the elders tell them what to do, they don't do what the elders tell them to do, then stone them to death, kill them. But they at least think, we ain't gonna have them in this prison. We ain't gonna be putting people in prison because that's inhumane to put a man in prison. And you can't find it nowhere in the Jewish 641 laws. But he did say this. He said, now Moses, let me tell you this. Let's say, for instance, two men out in the woods working. And another man is chopping wood with his axe. And the axe itself flies off the axe handle and hits his brother working behind him in the head and kills him. It's called manslaughter. Here's what you do. Tell the man whose axe accidentally killed another man to flee to what is known as, I think, the 7 cities of refuge. And these cities were known as cities of refuge, where the family members, nor the priest, nor the elders couldn't come and get him. And that man could stay in the city of refuge, according to Moses, until the priest died, and then he could go back to his home, and nobody could bother him. No prisons. But the other thing here with the cities of refuge here, as you can see there on the screen, the other city about the cities of refuge is that sometimes accidental things happen. You know, I think Marsha Carpenter Hodges was right. They shot that boy because their adrenaline was going and they made a bad decision. It was a bad decision. I think that boy that lynched that George Floyd, I think there was a sex thing going on. I think George Floyd had all them white women up there in Minneapolis bowing down to that boy. I think all them white women loved that. And I think that boy had it going on up there with them white women up there in Minneapolis. That's what I think. And that police didn't like it because they worked together and he saw it. But and he killed him. And they may have had the same woman. You never know. Maybe George Floyd took his woman. I don't know. But that's what I believe. And what I believe is always right. But I can tell you this. You know, with Rashad Brooks, those 2 police officers were embarrassed. Marsha Carpenter Hodges was right. And they shot him. And it was in the spur of the moment, their adrenaline was flowing and they made a bad decision. Is it manslaughter or is it murder? They made a bad decision. When they first rolled up on him, they were talking to him. They talked to the boy Rashad Brooks for 30 minutes or something, and everything was copacetic. They talked to the boy for 30 minutes, got him out of his car, had him drive his car. I mean, police tell me to get in my car and drive some parking lot. If I done something wrong, they're gonna have to get the patrol car and catch me. You would have thought he would have got in his car and drove away had he got in the car and headed for the Interstate 75. He didn't. When he parked his car, everything was copacetic. But when they started wrestling with him, he beat both of them. I think they were mad and they shot him because of that. Was it manslaughter? Was it murder? But, here's the deal. I'm going to tell you something. When those police beat me down there in Florida that night in Miami Beach, I think the reason why I didn't end up dead is because of the adrenaline. That was the excitement. I was running from them. And they had, I was arrested. I was getting ready to go to jail. I didn't want to go to jail. I think it was around Christmas time. I'm going to call my family in New York and tell them to come bail me out. And it's all that's going on. I'm thinking all this stuff. They beat me, and I'm not really thinking about them beating me. I'm thinking, so the adrenaline side of me really kept my body from concussion and cracking my skull. I think I think my body was resisting all of that. Sometimes that's what happened to police officers. The adrenaline starts flowing. I'd rather end up in the hands of a police. If I do something wrong before God, I'd rather end up in the hands of the police than end up in the hands of these judges sitting on these state benches. I'm telling you, it's true. That's the other thing. So we need to blame the victim. It's time to blame the damn victim. It's time to say that to black men that we can be better than this. We can police our own fathers, our children. We can we can keep our sons out the street. We have to tell them to keep their steering wheel, their hands on the steering wheel. We can tell them about keeping their morality. We can tell them about pulling their pants up. We can tell them about doing that which is right. It worked. From 1865 to 1965. It worked for W.E.B. Du Bois. It worked for Booker T. Washington. It worked it worked then, it'll work again. It worked for me. Blame the victim. That's what we need to be talking about, not police reform. We need to be talking about blame the victim. Put the house back in order. Put that father back in there. Why is he out of there? Why do we let him walk out? Don't give me this business about the fact that the government did it. The government ain't done nothing. That's a lie. The government started telling the woman she can get a welfare check, but she got to put the man out the house. Well, that may have happened. But he didn't have to leave. He didn't have to leave. You sit there and the family will eat cold bologna, mayonnaise and bread. But I ain't leaving my children for no welfare check. The hell with you. He didn't have to leave. So don't blame the government who made the offer and the black man and the black woman took him up on. The hell with you. And talk about, well, there's been discrimination. Listen, there's never been more legislation and help for the so-called Hamite brother. I didn't have none of that growing up, and I got a good education. I didn't have none of that growing up in North Carolina. I didn't have none of that colored water fountain. We didn't have none of that. And I cannot tell you of one incident of police brutality in North Carolina that I know of the 18 years I lived there, stomped down. No! Why? Because father was in the home. Families were united. The structure was different. It is when we started marching and protesting, and then black men saw, and then of course black men leaving the home because they were told they could do it. And a lot of other psychological things where we lost respect for the black woman. We lost respect for her as a queen. We did. We lost respect for the fact we're supposed to protect her. And if she brings us children in the world, we're supposed to love them and love her. Because that's what she thinks. She thinks she have a child for us. We'll love the child that comes from between her feet. We lost that. We lost it. We didn't lose it. Hell, we just walked away from it. We didn't blame the victim. No, we don't police reform. And get these politicians, make them all shut the hell up. Shut the hell up Al Sharpton. Shut up, Black Lives Matter. Shut them the hell up. We need to blame the victim is what we need to do. No, we need to say that black men, we're better than this. We can raise our own children. We can police our own neighborhoods. That's right. I grew up at home. Every home had a gun in it. That's right. Shotgun, rifle, whatever else. Come back, don't roll up on our house. You come roll up in here, you're going to get, 18 years in North Carolina, I never heard of one case of police brutality. And the police chief, the whole time, best I can remember, was police chief, an Irishman by the name of Higgins. He was his name. And the next police chief after him was a black man. No police brutality. You know, you're talking about relationships, right, with black folk. And I used to, well, Okay. So when I was 16, 17 years old, I started dating these girls over there in a little town 12 miles away from us called Maxton, North Carolina. Right? We lived in Red Springs. So this girl, there's a couple of girls over there in Maxton, I like them, so what we do, me and my boys, it was a Charles, Hargrove, and Leon, the three of us, we'd go. Sometimes there's a younger brother. The three of us would go. The Maxton. We would hitchhike. We get down the road out on 74, 74 in New York and North Carolina. We'd hitchhike, put our thumb out. White boy come by in a pickup truck. Where y'all boys going? We're going to Maxton. Well, get in. I'm on my way there. I can't go all the way there, but I can drop y'all off over here by us. We get on. And they drop us off about 3 miles out of Maxton. We get us stand out there again and wait for the next guy. Then the white guy go, where y'all going? We're going to Maxton. Well, come on, I'm going all the way to Lombard. I could take the bypass, but I'll drop y'all off in Maxton. And then we get to Maxton, right? Then we date our girlfriends, out there in the night, kissing and all that kind of stuff going on. Yes, sir! And then it would get late at night. This is the absolute truth as I live before the Lord. It would get late at night, right? We're 16 years old, out there in Maxton, and it's now dark, so we don't want to do hitchhiking. It's 12 o'clock at night. So there's a little washerette on Highway 74 that runs right between Red Springs and North. We go in the washerette and sleep there on the benches in the washerette, where the laundromat. We sleep till morning. And then we get up in the morning, daylight, we thumb back to my mother. She never asked me no question where I was. There were so many people in my house. I don't know if my mama knew I wasn't home at night. I swear to my daddy either. I don't think they knew I wasn't there. I don't think they knew. I come in the morning, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, I come in the house, I've been out all night, all right, 16 years old. I missed my whole 10th grade. I didn't go to school to tell. But what I'm trying to point out is that no white man, everybody that picked us up for the most part when we were thumbing with white boys, white men, they all had guns in the car with them. You never had no problem. You say it's because you were Uncle Tom. I ain't nobody's Uncle Tom. It's just that there wasn't a tension. There were not people like Al Sharpton. Hell, today, the average white man in South Carolina, North Carolina may think you following Al Sharpton. And he ain't gonna pick you up. And if he does, they're gonna shoot you. Because you got this loudmouth, slickhead, lying, drug dealing snitch called Al Sharpton that's standing at the top, at the pinnacle of black leadership as a black man who deserted his own family, by the way, and started switch hitting. Well, you got people like Obama. Well, ain't nobody white gonna have nothing to do with black boys no more. Ain't no more. They gonna shoot you. And what they gonna shoot you because they think you belong to Obama or Al Sharpton. We got to denounce Al Sharpton, denounce Obama, denounce them in the strongest terms, denounce Black Lives Matter, denounce them in the strongest terms, and people will have some respect for our integrity. Right now, they just shoot you. Hell, and I would too. No, all this talk about police reform. It ain't nothing but a scam to make politicians earn more money. A great line in Shawshank Redemption where Red sits there before the parole board and they ask him about rehabilitation. It's about his 5th time with the parole board. And he said, I know what rehabilitation board means, sonny. And so somebody like you can put on a suit and have a job. You talk to me about no rehabilitation. I've been in Shawshank for 40 years. You're going to ask me do I know what rehabilitation is? You're going to ask me, who lived in Red Springs, North Carolina. I've lived in Harlem for 40 years. You want to ask me what racial relations is all about? You think you can tell me because you went to Harvard? The hell with you. The hell with you. You're nothing but a house Negro. Pinch nose one at that. Can't talk to me. No, And when we start all this marching, and then we realize we can rebel against the white structure. And it became par for the course among young black men to rebel. And that rebellion has led us to where we are right now. So no, don't defund the police. Don't do that. I'm looking at this and I'm trying to say something to y'all because so everybody up in arms that Tribulation Trump used the military. He used a helicopter in over 8th Street there in Washington, D.C. the other night there in Lafayette Park. The airspace around the White House is the tightest airspace in the planet. You can't get a mosquito. Needs a certification from the FAA and the Pentagon. Mosquitoes can't fly through the airspace around the White House around Washington, D.C. That helicopter. What, washing down over the protests? Who authorized that helicopter in the White House airspace? Who authorized that? Right? Tribulation Trump using the military, Fort Bragg boys, to push back on the protesters. They're peaceful protesters, I'll say that. And then, so everybody said how awful that was. It was awful. But how much worse is it that Black Lives Matter now hooked up with the transvestites of America, and now they want to defund the police? That's worse. And they can look at they can talk about how bad things that Trump is doing, and I'm no fan of Trump, and everybody knows that. But what about what they're doing? They're pushing to take the money away from the popo and give the money to people in the street to decide who should go to jail, who should not go to jail. No, this thing smells bad. And I'm here to straighten it out. No, I'm here to talk the talk. No, I'm here to tell you that we need to blame the victim. Now we need to get back. Because in the years when we were blaming the victim, we built Howard University, Shaw. In the years we were blaming the victim, Harlem was owned by black people, proud black people, rich black people, doctors and lawyers and apothecaries and druggers and musicians. And when we blamed ourselves for our own fate, when we looked to ourselves and not to some civil rights, when we blamed ourselves, Harlem was a beautiful place. You could feel the rhythm of the people throughout the community, all up and down 7th Avenue, all up and down 8th Avenue, all up and down 125th Street. The rhythm of the people. The food, the smells, the sounds, the Cadillacs, the spats, the zoot suits, the fedoras, the raccoon coats. When we blamed ourselves, when we were responsible for ourselves. People like Al Sharpton, drug dealer, not telling y'all what the hell to do. At Obama, he's the most disappointing thing I've ever seen in life. Y'all ought to be ashamed of yourself. I swear, if I were you, and you voted for Obama, you ought to go hang yourself. You ought to go hang yourself. Look at that fool. He ain't do nothing for y'all. He ain't done nothing for y'all. He ain't done nothing. He pimped y'all like Iceberg Slim pimps $10 whores on 42nd Street at 2 o'clock in the morning. Obama pimped y'all black folk. He pimped y'all. What a white man. Wall Street. The only thing he ever cared about. He pimped y'all. And a few bleeding heart liberal white people who wanted to say, look how liberal and good we are. We're gonna give this to a black man. He pimped y'all. Iceberg Slim without the carry. That's why I call him the long-legged Mac Daddy. I did that before you knew he was gonna pimp you. Now that you see with hindsight that he pimped y'all, he pimped the churches. He pimped y'all, he pimped. He's the greatest pimp that ever came down the pike. Long-legged Mac Daddy, Obama! No, we ain't gonna defund no police. Nah, we ain't gonna do that. Now, I tell you what, keep your sons off the street, pull their damn pants up, have them put on a pair of loafers rather than string-ups and rather than wingtips rather than them damn sneakers all the time. Have them carry a science book, put them in school. Tell him about his heritage. Tell him we're great people. Tell him about Pastor Manning. Tell him about discipline. And tell him that we're going to grab all the rap music from Run DMC to whatever's being recorded right now. And we're going to have a barn burning of all rap music. We're going to put all rappers on trial. And we're going to get Hassan Campbell from up there in the Bronx to tell it like it is. That once these rappers, whether it be Puff Daddy or Killer Mike or anybody else, once these rappers sign a contract with these Jewish recording artists, they don't know y'all no damn more. Once these Jewish contractors, and I don't say this with hatred for Jews, but once they sign a contract to produce rap music that degrades the black woman, they don't know y'all no more. They ain't from the hood no more. They ain't gonna look y'all way no more. They're gonna start drinking $300 bottle of champagnes, riding around in the biggest Rolls Royces you can find, wearing gold chains that cost $30,000 and $40,000 just for the gold chain around their neck. They're gonna have black girls cleaning out their toenails and eating their toenail jams, because these Jews give these boys, these rappers, this money. Cuss that black woman, cuss her, call her a hoe, call her BITC, call that black woman, call her out, talk about her baby. Say you're gonna make her pretty, talk about her mama, call them out, call these black women out, call them out. Call out the po-po. Call them out. Rap it. Cuss them. Call them all kinds of names. We'll pay you billions of dollars to cuss the black woman and her children. Make your black woman hoes. Call the Beyonce. Open her legs. We'll pay you billions of dollars to get that witch to open up her legs, the gap, to show everybody her gap goodie. Come on. They don't know you no more. They ain't from the hood no more. They ain't your friend. Hassan Campbell tells it best. Nah, they ain't your friend. These rappers and movie stars, LeBron James ain't your friend. Michael Jordan, these basketball players sign $20, $30, $40 million contracts. They don't know y'all no damn more. They don't want to know you. They've been trying to get away from y'all. No more. They ain't your friend. No, So I think it's important. What you have going on right now is a failure to communicate. That's what we got. Now we need to start blaming the victim again. Yeah. For 100 years, we blamed the victim. For the last 55 years, we've been blaming the man. And that's why we've got the problem. We'll go back to making ourselves responsible for ourselves. The man won't have no power over us. Me, I'm James David Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant, and I'm here to stay. I'm in Harlem. I'm the Lord's servant. That's right. And y'all need to spread the word. Don't defund the police. Stop all this talk. Stop it now! This is a bit of a news blog we do, looking at spiritual wickedness in high places for the most part, making some observations about it and giving people a biblical foundation to the way of interpreting, rather than have Sean Hannity or Laura Ingraham or Janine Pirro or Anderson Cooper or Rachel Maddow or Don Lemon, Rush Limbaugh interpret what's going on in the world. You come to me and I'll tell you based on what the Word of God says. They'll just give you their worldly, sinful view. But the Manning Report will tell you what God has said, whether to say yea or nay, whether to go or to stay. You'll be led by the word of Almighty God. Come to the Manning Report on a daily basis to interpret the spiritual wickedness in high places, because there's plenty of it that's going on. And so I am he. I'm the Lord's servant, James David Righteous Rebel Manning, and I'm here to serve you with news and information.